All right. Welcome back to another episode of Ranting and Raving. This will not be a Keys to Victory episode because Keys to Victory are for good teams, which we entered the season thinking we were going to be, and with a combination of Jameis, our starting quarterback, suffering a major injury in the first game and a drastic reduction in capabilities, as well as clearly being an unorganized, dysfunctional mess in pretty much every phase of the game, the Saints are 1-3 and really by every right should be 0-4. So they're not a winning team, so we're not going to talk about keys to victory. That doesn't mean the season's done, and it doesn't mean it's impossible to turn things around, because the reality is that they could just as easily be 4-0 and be the worst undefeated team in the league. The margins have been that close, and they have done more to beat themselves than they have to get beaten. But the reality is they're 1-3. And good teams find a way to win, and bad teams find a way to lose. And the Saints have found ways to lose. So that's where they are. So with that said, I thought it would be more interesting to take the approach of how I'm going to approach watching the rest of this season. And for me, it's really going to be, because I love, putting things in lists, it's really going to be three things. I'm going to focus on three things for the rest of the year. And the win and loss column isn't going to be one of those three things. If the Saints somehow turn it around and they win 9 or 10 games and they go on a hot streak and they make the playoffs and it becomes a fun season, awesome. I'd love that. That would be fantastic. It would be unexpected at this point, but it would be fantastic. And it's not completely out of the realm of possibility. It's probably out of the realm of probability at this point, but not possibility. It could happen. Um, they also could make the playoffs as an 8 and 9, wild card, just because of the way the NFC is, or even could win the division. A lot of things could happen, but I'm not going to be really focusing on wins and losses. Although obviously I always want my team to win. Number one, I want to see, and one of the things I'm going to focus on the rest of the year is, are the Saints doing fun things? Do they get the ball into AK's hands in space? Does Michael Thomas come back from what appears to be turf toe and play more than 2 games this season? Um, does Jarvis Landry come back and return to what he did in the first game and make a lot of plays? Does Chris Olave continue to look fantastic and like a exceptional draft pick? Does Will Lutz hit more 60-yard field goals? Can Marcus Davenport meet a quarterback and just turn them into goop? These are all fun things. Demario Davis on a blitz and a Kamehameha celebration. Um, these are all fun things. Can the Saints do fun things? I'm going to cheer for fun things. And I'm just going to wait for the fun things to happen. And I'm just going to enjoy the fun things. Because I'm not emotionally invested in the outcome at this point, because I've accepted that for a variety of reasons, they're not a very good football team. And so instead of wallowing my misery, I'm just going to focus on the fun things. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to laugh at the stupid. Um, the Saints have had a lot of yakety sax plays. I mean, the single funniest moment, at least Saints wise, this entire season was Mark Ingram's tumbling, fumbling, bumbling Chris Berman whoop over the head toss fumble. Like, that's a Looney Tunes play. It was hilarious. Obviously, it pissed me off because I wanted him to win, but after the fact, hilarious. And I'm just gonna laugh at the funny stuff when they do dumb things, when they commit idiotic penalties. Not the ones where the refs just make stuff up like they did on the Tyrann Mathieu play last week, which was just typical refs bullshit. Um, but yeah, when they're it's 3rd and 19, and the defense finds a way to commit the stupidest fucking penalty and give them a first down, I'm just going to laugh. Because I expect it. And it's, it's kind of one of those things you either laugh or cry, and I'm going to choose to laugh. I'm just going to laugh at the stupid. Because I've accepted this is not, even though it's a talented team, it's not a very good team. They're not well coached, and if you don't like me saying that, great. Let them show that they are a well-coached, organized team, and my opinion will change. But I can only go based on the evidence in front of me, and the evidence in front of me is they're not a well-coached team, they're not an organized team, they're not a very smart team, they're definitely not a disciplined team. And while they're a talented team, they're performing so far below their potential capabilities that it is laughable. And thus, I will laugh when they do stupid things. And the final thing I'm going to do is I'm going to keep an eye on the younger guys. And I'm going to focus a lot less on the older players and the guys who are washed up. Like, I don't care. Like, if Mark Ingram has a good run, Mark Ingram gets a 20-yard run, awesome, great. Again, I want the Saints to win. I want them to do well. That remains the goal. But I'm not going to, be jumping out of my seat because dude's washed. It's a great play. That's awesome. If he gets stuffed at the line of scrimmage, I'm also not going to throw a fit because I kind of expect that because he's washed. And Tony Jones Jr., him just touching the field, I'm happy for that man's family. I mean, he might have some snap count bonuses, and he ain't going to have a long career in the league. So, happy for him. Hope you're saving it away. You still have an opportunity, even making league minimum, to do some good things for your future. So you can go ahead and do that, man. One of the top X thousand people on the planet doing what you do, you're just, not one of the top 45 at your position. But it is what it is. So, and again, Cam Jordan, through 4 games, has absolutely no pass rush. Third string tackles are eating him up. Maybe by week 12, week 13, where guys start getting tired and, seeing games as meaningless or whatnot, all of a sudden he'll explode for some multi-sack games. And we'll be like, Cam's back, like he did last year. But right now, he's just not doing a whole lot. He's a better podcaster than he's a pass rusher, and his podcast kind of sucks. So take that as you will. He's gonna have a very successful career in media, but his podcast is meh. But anyway, I'm not gonna focus on him one way or another. I want to see can Marcus Davenport get healthy? Can Marcus Davenport get in shape? He's gotten better each week. Does that progress through the season? Does he play most of the season? That's interesting to me. Nothing Peyton Turner does is interesting to me. Pete Werner's been phenomenal. He's been a freaking tackling machine. He's been a playmaker. He's not just getting these, Curtis Lofton. Yeah, he's got 100 tackles, but the majority of them are 12 yards up the field. He's making plays at the line of scrimmage. He's breaking up passes. He's making positive plays. Pete Werner's very interesting to me. Justin Evans is very interesting to me. Obviously, Chris Olave is very interesting to me. If Penning is able to come back, Penning's interesting to me. I want to see the players who are going to be here for the next 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, hopefully 10 years. I want to see those guys develop and do well. And if we lose some games, but those guys aren't the reason and they're developing and they're doing well, hell, I want to see Alontae Taylor. I want to see Paulson Adebo. These are the players that I care about. These are the things that I'm going to be watching. And again, the reason I'm choosing to do this is just for me, is I've accepted that the Saints aren't a very good football team. And if I just focus on the result, my liver is going to frickin' kill me. I'm not sure that's a euphemism, because the amount of drinking you would have to do if you, at this point, go into every game going, nah, but the Saints are a fringe contender, man. They told us that when they saw us in camp. Okay. Well, that ain't what we're seeing on the field. And you're going to be doing a lot of rage drinking. I don't have that kind of money. So if they start playing better, I'll start adjusting expectations. And until then, this has been my viewing guide for the rest of the season. It'll help me keep my sanity. It might help you keep your sanity. And if you agree or disagree, or you have your own thoughts on things you're going to focus on, feel free to hop in the comments section and tell me what you're going to have there. But just don't bring up the Eagles having our pick. We'll talk about that in the offseason. Thanks, guys.